What you doing?
I'm doing a smelly job.
What is it?
I'll show you.
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Nomad the World is My Beat. I'm journalist Liza Foreman and I'm taking you around the world with me in my suitcase. In this week's episode we're going home. My dad, urban dad culture, is a celebration of the most special person in my whole life, my dad. Clive David Foreman, a British accountant, computer programmer, on paper sounds like your average human being, but in real life is just the kindest, most patient, most loving, most intelligent and most nurturing person I know. He's also quirky with a funny sense of humour. Dad, what are you doing?
I am taking an old tabletop apart because I want to use it to repair another table.
Oh, wow. How did you learn woodwork, carpentry?
Just by doing it, really.
Oh.
Nobody taught me.
Do you like it?
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
What else have you made?
I've always liked working with wood.
What else have you made?
Oh, I've made all sorts of tables and a lute.
A lute?
Several lutes.
Well, I like to learn hip hop and listen to house music and live out of a suitcase. Dad comes from a generation that were much more grounded. He still does spend much more time in his old brick home with his wife Jean than I ever spend in mine. And instead of coming up with outlandish things to do, Dad has a load of hobbies that are much more down to earth.
It's not in
Wow! My dad made this.
That's quite interesting doing that because you have to carve these shapes, which are Arabic, really.
Yeah, it looks Arabic.
It derives from the oud, O-U-D.
Yeah.
Lute.
Huh.
So we get the word lute from that. They were made all over Europe. This is called a North European light coloured one made in Belgium.
Yeah.
But to traditional designs.
How long did it take you?
About 2 years altogether.
Wow.
So, but it does need tuning. It's completely out of tune.
He's always been an absolute standout photographer, and some of the photographs that you see in this episode are of me as a young child taken by my dad. He'd only just become my dad when the photographs were taken because in fact I was born to somebody else who legged it, and I'm the lucky one because when I was 2 I was adopted by Clive. He's always been a part of my life therefore, or for as long as I could remember, because I don't remember anything before that. So is the lute a Western instrument inspired by Arabic instruments?
Exactly, yeah.
When was it first used, do you think, in music in the West? Do you know what period?
In the West?
Well, here.
The time of the Crusades, well, difficult to say really, but 1300 onwards. It's a very quiet instrument, so it was when people started to listen to music in larger groups, it wasn't loud enough to cope with that. So it's very much what we call a chamber music instrument.
A chamber music
instrument. A small
instrument.
number of people in the audience. So it didn't really survive the Victorian large-scale demand for music playing, from which we get the big concert halls and big orchestras. Doesn't belong with that at all. My earliest memories of my dad are when we lived in Gillingham, Kent. I can remember running headlong down the middle of a road to meet him as he walked up the hill in his smart suit from a day's work in London. We lived in the Medway towns. I almost got run over by a car, but I'm still here to tell the tale. In those days, we lived in a typical British house. Me, my sister, my mum and my dad. And we had a load of lodgers, because even though Dad worked every day in London
traipsing up and down, and at that point he was an accountant for London Transport. We had about 8 lodgers that lived in our house. Every nook and cranny of our house was filled with different people, so there was always something going on. This, guys, is what people do in England for a holiday. It's a narrow boat going up and down the canal, and they have to unlock these gates so the waters match levels. Look, it's popping up high really quick. Dad wasn't around much in the week, but on weekends he did special things with us. We were forever going up to London. We'd go to events in Hyde Park, and we'd go to theatre for children. We'd go and eat pizza at Pizza Express, which was about the most exciting thing that could happen to you as a child in those days. We'd go and buy musical instruments. And when I was about 8 or 9, my dad bought me a flute, and I can still remember going up to a posh London music shop, coming home the proud owner of a flute, and then being able to take up flute lessons. Welcome to England, look at it. A canal, red brick house, a little seat, cyclists going by, and down there, people that live on houseboats. There's other memories that I have from London. Sometimes we'd be made to wait for hours, or what seemed like hours, in bookshops while Dad wanted to browse through the books. And in fact, on top of his love for photography, he also has a huge collection of books. And one thing I like when I go to their house are the wonderful books that line the shelves halfway up the hallway, in the dining hall, in the kitchen, in the living room, in the bedrooms. There are books everywhere. You've become not only a hipster, but you now adopt a Los Angeles diet with no sugar, no dairy, no red meat.
I'm not a hipster.
I think you're a hipster because you wear hip outfits. You've always been a hipster, Dad. You were a hipster before the hipsters. And you dress better than most hipsters.
And for me, literally,
and you're nicer.
Before us meeting today at my
What are you eating?
archive of promise
Piece of chicken.
the promise season in particular.
Ooh, so you eat white meat now? No red meat.
Every single piano promise.
See, I had sausages. My
Chicken.
dad sniffed it but didn't
And
touch it.
all the players at the time that were
Chicken, turkey, guinea fowl.
of course
Mm.
working for Steinway.
We're in your beautiful garden,
was always
flowers that
something
Jean
that was
does,
weird and no,
and there's your shed where you usually do woodwork.
amazing.
When I visit my dad, we spend a lot of time cooking. Dad has learnt to cook lots of interesting meals. I like to make expeditions down Worcester Canal into the High Street. And another thing I get when I go home is not only to see my dad and my family, but I get to experience historic Britain, which really hits home and resonates with me even more these days because I spent a decade of my life living in Los Angeles as an entertainment journalist, where I was really bereft of old buildings. I missed the history and I missed the rain. Welcome to Worcester Cathedral. I mean, look at that beautiful archway building. This is the garden of Worcester Cathedral. Like I said, there's a sort of peacefulness to England. These days, Dad lives on the side of a canal. At the back of the house, there's a long garden, and Jean, his wife, spends a lot of time tending to the flowers and making the garden as beautiful as you can imagine. Now, my dad does what urban dads do. He retreats to his shed now and then at the end of the garden. It's an immaculate looking shed from the outside, and inside it's stuffed with some of his favourite items, including lots of historic bikes and bits and pieces that adorn vintage bikes. Dad spent a lot of his life repairing bikes and riding in vintage or old bike rallies in different places, but these days he's more than 80 and his doctor stopped him from riding. Still, he goes down to his shed and he tinkers about fixing things and making things. Right, Dad, tell us about your style. What are you wearing today?
I am wearing some new chinos. I'm wearing a shirt by Paul Smith.
Very trendy. What about the hat?
The hat is just a linen, Irish linen hat
Ah,
that I've just cleaned, and it's much better for cleaning.
what's the stick and the shoes?
The stick, it's just a stick.
Ah,
Shoes are from Clark's.
Clark's, very practical.
And that's it really.
Dad and Jean have all sorts of other activities and interests. They like bird watching and they belong to different historical societies. And in fact, when Dad lived in Faversham, they used to be the guardians of different historical visiting spots. They were part of an organisation called the Faversham Society, and Dad was involved in different groups. And sometimes I'd find him sitting for hours on end in an empty moorland. I think he was protecting birds. One time I even found him sitting in a field which looked like it had nothing in it, but he was doing some sort of open day for the remains of a castle which looked like about 4 stones peeking up from beneath the ground. Another thing I appreciate about my dad is good old-fashioned culture. Dad isn't that agile these days, but he always makes an effort when I come home to take me somewhere. Recent trips include a glass museum and local art galleries. We go to castles, we go on shopping trips, we go to nearby villages, we go to cafes. We have a great time enjoying the simpler things in life. One thing that I really appreciate my dad is how calm and how kind he is, and how intelligent he is, and how funny he is. That's another thing from the old world. He just seems to be a good old soul that grew up just after the war when everything was sparse. His mum raised him and his sister. His dad died when he was young, and he just grew up to be a humble, wonderful human being. And again, I'm the lucky one to have somebody who's so sweet and so kind, who's always there to catch me. I can even remember one time I was flying from Los Angeles to the Cannes Film Festival, and as journalism these days is really a business of starvation, he was kind enough to go all the way up to London, all the way to the airport, to meet me and hand me some cash and make sure I was okay. He's always taken care of me, and it's really lovely to have somebody in my life that I can rely upon. So this is a celebration of my dad. I hope that you enjoy getting to know him here too.